It's time for CIBL Biz Tips, bringing you actionable strategies to grow and improve your business. Prepare to become civilized.
What's up, Central Illinois? Welcome to CIBL Biz Tips, where we bring you concepts and strategies to grow your Central Illinois business. Today, we're back with the final session with Nick Gentile and John DeFreitas from Town & Country Bank. They are commercial lenders in Springfield, Illinois, and we've been talking about starting a podcast and the steps needed and technology needed to do so. So, final session, guys. I know you have one or two more questions. Go ahead and lay it on us.
Yeah. So we've recorded 4 episodes of this now, talking about all of the steps, all of the work that's involved in putting together a podcast. And I think it's safe to ask the question now, what is the goal? What is the reason for putting in all of the work, time, and energy behind this thing?
Sure. Derek, you want me to go first or you want to go first?
Have at it, man.
All right. Well, initially, we had talked about a little bit in one of the earlier episodes. We had decided to do this when, COVID had pretty much shut down a lot of connections, walking into businesses, things of that nature, and that's Derek and I's business. We're both in insurance. For the most part, we do a lot of commercial insurance and employee benefits. And for us, it's you got to, initially kind of start off by, stopping in and getting to know who to maybe follow up with and who to contact. And that had stopped for us. So we thought, what better way to try to start getting in front of businesses than, to connect with them, hear their story, if they're willing to, jump on, highlight their business. And, for us, we both are very entrepreneur mindset as far as, ideas and trends and how to grow ourselves as well. So we wanted to, try to get a business owner on, hear their story, find out, how they started, different trials, different setbacks that they have, taken on, how they have grown and how their business has progressed, what they're doing on social media, just different ideas from everybody. It's been great. And we want to highlight their business in the end. If, some of the things that Derek and I have as a niche that we do that maybe is a little different than, some of the other commercial or employee benefits guys out there, then maybe down the road, we would be able to connect and have a softer entryway there that we know them. We now know their business. They know us a little more in depth than just being an insurance agent. And for me, it's been great getting to know the local businesses and even more than just Central Illinois. And we all struggle, we all fight, we all want to grow, and to pick everybody's brain. It's just been, to me, it's been a wild ride, and I'm glad we decided to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, it's helped us get in front of business owners that we wanted to potentially turn into clients. We've got some business from it. But one thing that has happened that I didn't expect to happen was getting connections of people that we've never talked to, they aren't necessarily guests. So Nick and John, the way that they found us was they saw a short clip of a video, I think it was on LinkedIn. Is that right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Nick, I can't remember what happened. If Nick, you sent me a message on LinkedIn or I sent you one, something happened, but we ended up going to lunch together over in Taylorville, learning about them. They learned about us. So we created a connection there with like-minded, two like-minded guys that bounced ideas off of each other. And now they're on the podcast, and now, we can help each other grow our businesses together. That was something that I did not expect that came from it. It was more of a selfishly trying to find a way to add value and get in front of businesses we wanted to potentially work with. And it's now expanded into we're getting in front of people and adding value to people that we never would have expected.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to put it, because I should have said the same thing. As I'm not going to say we selfishly started it. We'd been talking about doing something very similar and did something on a smaller aspect when we first did it, but it has turned into something that I didn't expect, and it way better than what I think our initial goals maybe were. And it's just getting to know so many different people on so many different aspects of maybe what we hadn't initially thought was going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you one thing that's kind of cool that Garrett and I were just contacted like 2 weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago, here in Central Illinois. A big program for high schools is the CEO program. And Nick and John, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not. So we were contacted by one of the Central Illinois CEO programs. And so we're kind of now a feeder for them to talk to business leaders that have been guests on our show. And the other thing that we learned is the facilitator is using our content to help educate the CEO students and teach them about business, and use these biz tips episodes of, how people have built their business and given, ideas to help these young entrepreneurs, grow their business. So that's pretty cool. That was something I never would have expected.
Absolutely.
Right.
So shout out to the CEO class if you guys are listening to this one. So we're happy to keep sharing ideas and getting people who are smarter than us on the show. So shout out to Nick and John, because they're a little bit smarter than us.
And I think one of the things, as far as gathering guests, it goes back to, I think one of the best things, it's no different than business, right? We all want referrals, but a lot of times it's the scariest question to ask for anybody in sales. And I'm not sure why sometimes, but just asking. What we have found is most of the time at the end of an episode, we'll ask, hey, can you recommend 2, 3, 4, or 5 individuals, or, who comes to mind that you think would be a good fit for us? And really, I mean, that's continued to progress to where I don't want to say we're not actively still looking for guests, because we are, but, we can typically get 2 to 5 guests by, just one episode, because most business owners or entrepreneurs, who do they most of the time associate with? Other business owners and entrepreneurs. Right. So, because most time they want to stick with like-minded individuals that, want to grow and continue to prosper in their life. So that's been a great feature for us, is once we've gotten to know some individuals, shout out to, John over at Beer Nuts. I mean, how many individuals has he hooked us up with there? Andy. John. I'm looking at John's name. Gosh darn it. I mess up, guys. Andy over at Beer Nuts. Yeah. I mean, he's hooked us up with so many individuals, and connected us with throughout Central Illinois. So he's been a great source for us.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we've formally invited anybody to our podcast yet, but I was at a customer's building that he's working on right now the other day, and I feel like we have a really good relationship. He's close in age to me, and we get along really well. So I just kind of slid it out there that Nick and I were going to start a podcast, and I was like, maybe you could come on there sometime. And you should have seen the look on his face, like, what are you guys doing a podcast? Do you guys ever get that? It's like, how do you explain that? Why you're doing a podcast, or do you,
I get family members that ask me sometimes, when we first started, my wife's like, you're doing what? Why, and then other individuals from, Derek and I both reside in Shelbyville, which is a pretty small community. And, other people are like, why are you doing a podcast? It's like them trying to fathom and understand why we're trying to do it just doesn't make sense. And, it's one of those things I don't think we have to explain to anybody other than just giving them, hey, we're just trying to highlight businesses throughout Central Illinois. We're both, individuals that want to continue to grow, get better, and get to know other business people and like-minded individuals. And after you kind of say that, they're like, oh, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you're not an entrepreneur or trying to grow, your business or grow yourself, to sometimes, and that's nothing against any other individuals, they just don't understand what, kind of why you're doing it,
Right.
Yeah. Not many people, I have people who will be like, you have a podcast? Like, yeah, it's not like I'm Joe Rogan or anything. It's just, yeah. So another funny story about, finding people to be on the show and people connecting with people. So I went to Dominican Republic, back in July. My wife won a trip through her, side hustle business she does. So we went down there, and I wore a Central Illinois business leaders hat in the pool. And I had like 3 different people like, you're from Illinois? What part of Illinois? Like, and then, we ended up getting 2 new guests to come on the show that I met in the pool in the Dominican Republic in Punta Cana. So it's just like, you can connect with people in different ways, just because, obviously we're all in Central Illinois. We have some similar struggles and triumphs, and we know some similar people. It's just a way to connect with people and network in an age where it's tougher to network in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know you guys had swag. That just blew my mind.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We actually I think we just ran out of hats, but we have a new order coming in soon. So we'll make sure we hook you guys up. So yeah, we can get you
That's
some
awesome.
swag. Oh yeah.
I have one more quick question for you, if you don't
Okay.
mind. What's one question that we need to work into our scripts that we need to ask our guests? Do you guys have one that seems to cultivate some great answers from your guests, or no?
I don't have one specific, but I always like to ask, and typically it just comes up in conversation, and sometimes it's towards the end, but, for a business owner, if you were talking to somebody ready to start a business, that's delaying it, what advice would you give to that individual, because, I always think that's a good one, because most business owners were scared, right? We're nervous, and eventually it's kind of like starting a podcast. You got Derek that walks in and just says, we're doing it. We're not talking about it anymore. We can talk about it all day long. We're just going to do it. So that's one of my questions I enjoy hearing is, what made them initially start it and to keep fighting to do it.
Love it.
Yeah. So last question for you guys. When can we expect to hear the first episode of the Centers of Influence podcast?
Yeah, John.
That's a great question. I think we just need to do it. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while now. I can't remember how long ago we went to lunch with you guys, but even before then, Nick and I had kind of just tossed the idea back and forth, not being serious, but kind of, throwing it out there. So I think pretty soon, in fact, we'd like to invite you guys to come on our podcast. I think it'll be a nice, easy way to get ourselves started, and we'll see from your guys' point of view how you are a center of influence.
Hey, that's your tagline, right? You guys are ready. You just got to launch this thing, for sure. I don't want to speak for Garrett, but I will accept the invitation.
Absolutely, for sure. I'd love to be. Yep, be an easy conversation with you guys.
Yeah, just send us your Calendly link.
Yeah, we have to figure all that stuff out now that we know how to do it.
Oh,
nice. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you helping us out on our first series of Biz Tips. It was kind of a different way of doing it. We are usually the ones asking questions, so we got to answer the questions in this podcast session. So appreciate it, and hopefully, I think we might have you guys back on for a full episode sometime. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. Cool. And then you we'll also help you start the Centers of Influence podcast, and we're excited to be guests with you there. Until next time, Central Illinois, y'all have been civilized. Take care.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Central Illinois Business Leaders Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/CIBL podcast. You can also follow us on LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It's the civilized thing to do.